Hello, good morning students and welcome back once again to another video for the class 9. Today we are continuing with the revision. So let's begin. The first question for today is actually an MCQ. Okay. A particle is moving with a circular path of a radius r. The displacement after half a circle would be. So we are supposed to find the displacement of a particle moving in a circular path. Okay. So how does this happen? Like this. Suppose this is the starting point, then a circular path happens like this. This is not a perfect circle, but you can get the idea. The question is, what would be the displacement after half a circle? So the particle is only covering half of the circle. That's it over here. This is the point where it is stopping. Okay. What would be the displacement? So what is actually the definition of displacement that we discussed in the last video? Displacement is actually the shortest distance or the shortest path from point A to point B. Now obviously the particle has taken a circular path, but if you look at it, the shortest path will be this one. This over here is the shortest path. Now because the particle is covering half a circle, that means there is a center point over here. If you look at the whole circle like this, then this is the semicircle, half of it. So what is the distance? So from here to here, the options are 0. Obviously, the particle is not coming back to the same point, and so the displacement is not 0. Okay. Second one is 2 pi r. What is 2 pi r? 2 pi is actually the perimeter of the circle. That is, the whole of the circle is 2 pi r. The third one is 2r. That is 2 times the radius. And the last one is pi r. That is half of the semicircle. Okay, perimeter. But if you look at it, this is the center point. So this is the radius r and this is the radius r. So from point A to point B, the distance is the diameter, or you can say 2 times the radius. You cannot take the full circle because we are not finding the distance. Okay, we are finding the shortest distance, not the total distance of the particle that is covering, and that too the particle has covered only half of the circle. That means we cannot find the semicircle as well because we are not finding the distance covered. However, we are finding the displacement, that is the shortest path from point A to point B, and for that we will take this line over here, and that is the diameter, and you can say 2 times r. So the answer for the first question is 2r. Okay. Next question. Find the acceleration of motorcycle starting from rest and achieving the velocity of 72 kilometers per hour in half a minute. So you have been given the final velocity and you have been given the time. You are not given the initial velocity, but it is said that the motorcycle is starting from rest. That means initial velocity is 0. So if it is starting from rest, we will write initial velocity is 0 kilometers per hour, or I can write 0 meters per second. You will obviously have to convert it into meters per second. Second one is final velocity v is 72 kilometers per hour. Converting that is 72 kilometers multiplied by 1000 to make it meters, and for hour we have 3600. I have shown this conversion many times. I will remove this 2 zeros. 36 1, 36 2. So 2 into 10 becomes 20 meters per second. So now the velocity or the final velocity v is 20 meters per second in terms of meters and second. Conversion from 72 kilometers per hour, it is meters per second. I hope this is clear to you, students. The next part is time, that is half a minute. The time is half minute, that is 30 seconds. Half minute, because full minute has 60 seconds, so half a minute has 1 minute is 60 seconds, so half minute has 30 seconds. Okay, we have the time as well. Now only thing left is to find the acceleration, and for acceleration we have a is equal to v minus 2 upon t, that is change in velocity upon time taken. This is our acceleration. So a is equal to, what is final velocity? 20 meters per second. 20. Initial velocity is 0. Time is 30 seconds. I will write over here 20 minus 0 is 20 upon 30. Zeros get cancelled. What is remaining is 2. Or I can write in decimal points at 3/6/18. So 0.6. Again 2 remaining. So 0.66 meters per second square. This is the acceleration. Final answer is acceleration A is 0.66 meters per second. Now because this is a recurring value, it will continue to go on and on, but we can only take 2 decimal places, it is okay. Very simple numerical, just convert the kilometers per hour into meters per second, minutes into seconds, solve the equation, apply the values in the equation, solving it will give you the final answer. Okay? Don't just leave it as 2 upon 3. Okay? Find the decimal value and keep it in this way. I hope this is clear to you, students. We move on to the next one. Okay, students, another MCQ for you. Velocity time graph of a moving object is a curved line where its acceleration is. So we are given just a statement that a velocity time graph, okay, that means this one, this is velocity, this is time, and it is said that the velocity time graph of a moving object is a curved line. It may be this way or it can be this way. Okay, whatever it is, a curved line, it is not mentioned. Then its acceleration is, first one, constant. If the velocity is changing equally, then the graph should have been like this. Okay, it is a straight line, and if it is such a straight line for velocity time graph, then its acceleration is uniform, or you can say that it is constant acceleration. But in this case, it is a curved line. Velocity is not changing equally. That means the first option is not available. Okay. Third one. If you see the third one, if the velocity is constant, that means if it is a straight line like this, then there is no change in velocity. That means acceleration becomes 0. But it is not mentioned that it is a straight line parallel to x-axis. It is a curved line. That means velocity is still changing. So 0 is also not possible. Okay. And the last one, it is said that none of this. No, that is not possible. If you see the second option, that is variable, then you know that over here the velocity is changing continuously. That means it is not constant. That means it is variable. It is changing. Hence our correct option is B. Because the velocity is changing, it is variable. Variable means it varies. It is changing. Okay. So constant velocity is not constant. Sorry, acceleration is not constant. And acceleration is not 0 as well, because velocity is still changing. It is not constant velocity. Okay, velocity is changing because it is said that the object is having a curved line for velocity time graph. If it is a curved line, that means velocity is changing and therefore it is variable. I hope this simple question is understood to you, students. The next one is, on what factors do following physical quantities depend? So we are given 3 physical quantities and we have to explain on what factors these 3 physical quantities depend. Okay. So the first one is inertia. What is inertia? So inertia is the ability of an object to remain in its state of motion, whether it be at rest or constant motion, whatever it is, but it will remain in that particular state. Okay, that is inertia, the ability of an object. Okay, now we had these 2 examples. One is simple football and the other one is a rock which is like football. It has the same size and let's say that it has been painted the same. so there is no difference between the two. But which one will be difficult to kick? Obviously, the football is very easy, the other one is a rock. So if you try to hit it, you will get an injury. Why? Because it has more mass. So if the object has more mass, it has more inertia. Similarly, it is much more difficult to stop the train than to stop a bus. Okay, because train has more mass. Bus, if we apply simple brakes, it can be stopped. Train requires a lot of brakes in each and every coach in order to stop. Just the engine itself cannot stop the train. Okay. Similarly, same thing. A bicycle and a motorcycle, both moving with same velocity, has different inertia. It is much easier to stop the bike than to stop a motorcycle. Okay. So the first one is inertia depends on. We are writing the answer over here. Inertia depends on mass. Okay. Answer for the first one. B. Momentum. What is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Okay. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. I will write over here momentum P is mass into velocity. Now, as the definition suggests, and we can see it in the formula as well, that momentum has mass and velocity. So, if any of this value changes, momentum changes. It is similar to the same thing. Okay, just like inertia. We have a motorcycle and we have a bicycle or a simple bike. Okay, both of them are moving with same velocity. Which one will have more momentum? Obviously the motorcycle, because motorcycle has more mass. A simple bicycle has less mass. Okay, even though they are moving with same velocity, mass creates a huge factor. Okay. Similarly, we have a bicycle and we have a motorcycle. One of them has more velocity and the other one has same mass but different velocities. Then once again we will say that velocity changes and so the momentum also changes. We have two bicycles. Both of them have same mass, but the one moving with more velocity has more momentum. So we can say that momentum depends on mass and velocity. Any of this changes, then momentum also changes. Okay, momentum depends on mass and velocity. Similarly, last one, we have force. Force S is equal to mass into acceleration from the second. See, just like this one, if mass changes, then force also changes, and if acceleration changes, then also the force changes. Okay, so force depends on mass and acceleration. Okay. Two simple things. Mass. A small feather, let's say a feather, okay, it has very less mass, or you can say a paper, a crumbled paper, you take it in a form of a ball and you take an actual plastic ball. Both of them has same size, okay, but they have different mass. Now we are both throwing both the balls with the same velocity and same acceleration. Okay, so the velocity is changing equally. Obviously, if that ball strikes another object, okay, so the paper ball is going to do less damage. Why? Because it has less mass. Okay, it has less mass, and therefore the force applied by the plastic ball will be more. Okay, so that explains us that force is dependent on mass as well. Similarly, any small object you imagine, let's say a small chalk, okay, a small chalk, if you throw it at someone with low velocity, give it as a catch, then it is very simple, okay, someone can catch it. But if you throw it, even a small chalk, if it hits someone's head, or it can do a little bit of damage, you can actually feel the pain. Okay, it goes same for the ball as well. It has the same mass. We are talking about the same ball, even a plastic ball. If you throw it at someone, they catch it. But if someone's hitting it with a bat and it comes with great velocity and great acceleration, then if it hurts you, then it can cause quite a damage. So it also depends on acceleration as well. So same thing, just like momentum, it depends on mass as well as acceleration. Okay? I hope this is clear to you, students. These three physical quantities: inertia depends only on mass, momentum depends on mass as well as velocity, and force depends on mass and acceleration. Okay?